Same project, same context, different tools. On the left, I am using Cursor. On the right, Claude Code. Both understand my coding standards, my architecture decisions, my team's conventions. Because the context isn't locked to any vendor, it lives in my repo. This is the pattern I have used on enterprise projects, with over 100 of integrations: Angular front-end, .NET back-end, Oracle database, physical robots. And today, I'm going to teach you exactly how it works and how Claude Skills takes it one step further. Let me tell you what actually happened in production. You are working in a real project, not a tutorial, a real project with deadlines. Your customer wants the MVP yesterday. You don't have time to set up fancy tooling. So what do? You create a document folder, you dump all your architecture decisions in there, all your coding standard, your API definitions. And every time you talk to an LLM, whether it is a Claude, GPT, Cursor, whatever, you tell the LLM, read the document folder first, then help me. And it works. It's manual, but it works. I have been doing this since late 2024 across Cursor, Tray AI, Claude, and half a dozen other tools. The problem isn't that it doesn't work. The problem is it's manual. Every time you have to ask the LLM to read the document folder first. And there is no standard. Every developer can structure it differently. And finally, there is no verification. The LLM can ignore the context anyway. Today, we are going to solve all three. The video has three parts, and they all build on each other. Section 1, the universal pattern. This is the foundation, a context structure that works with any LLM, any tool. You will use this forever, regardless of what AI tools come and go. Section 2, Claude Skills. This is Anthropic's formalization of the pattern. It adds auto-invocation. Claude automatically loads context without you asking. Section 3, the hybrid workflow. How to use both together so your context is portable, but you still get the benefit of automation. Let me show you what I actually use in production. This is not a theory. This is battle tested on enterprise projects. 5 files, that's it. Every project, same structure. Let me explain what each one does. The PROJECT.md is the elevator pitch. What is this project? What problem does it solve? What technologies are we using? Any LLM that reads this file understands the big picture in 30 seconds. The second file is the CONVENTIONS.md. Your team's coding standards, naming conventions, file structure, pattern you use, patterns you avoid. This is what you would tell a new developer on day one. Then we have the architecture.md. System design decisions. How components connect. Why you choose certain approaches. The stuff that's not obvious from reading the code. Then we have CURRENT.md. This is the magic one. At the end of each day, you update this with what you worked on, what decisions you made, what's in progress. Tomorrow, any LLM can pick up exactly where you left off. And finally, we have history.md, a running log of significant changes. Not a get log, a human-readable history of why things changed. The key insight, your context should live in your repo, not in any tool's memory system. Tools come and go, but your gut is forever. Let's build this for real. I will show you what each file should contain. Notice what I included. the tech stack, the scale, the integrations. An LLM reading this immediately understands what kind of project this is. This is the kind of detail that makes large language models actually useful. Without this, they guess. With this, they follow your standards. This is what I update at the end of each day. 5 minutes of writings saves hours of re-explaining context tomorrow. Here's how you actually use this, regardless of which tool you are in. In Claude.ai, you can upload the context files or paste them. Same instruction. In continue.dev, Claude, or any other tool, same pattern. The context lives in your repo. The tool is just the interface. At the end of the day, update CURRENT.md. Let me explain why this pattern is so effective. Not every file needs to be loaded every time. PROJECT.md and CURRENT.md always. CONVENTIONS.md when writing code. Architecture.md when making design decisions. History.md when you need to understand why something is the way it is. This is called progressive disclosure. You give the large language model what it needs, when it needs it. The universal pattern works. I have proven it on real projects. But there is one friction point. You have to remember to tell the large language model to read the context. In October 2025, Anthropic launched Claude Skills, the formalization of this pattern that add one killer feature, auto-invocation. You don't have to ask. Claude reads the skill descriptions, matches them to your request, and loads the relevant context automatically. Simon Wilson, who reverse engineered the feature before Anthropic announced it, called it maybe a bigger deal than MCP. And in December 2025, Anthropic released it as an open standard at agentskills.io. A skill is a folder with a skill.md file. Sound familiar? It's the same pattern, markdown files with context. The difference is the structure. We have two parts, YAML formatter and markdown body. The formatter has name and description. The description is critical. This is what Claude reads to decide when to use the skill. Think of it as SEO for your context. The body has your actual instructions. Same content you would put in conventions.md, just formatted for Claude skill system. A key insight here. The description is the trigger. Write it like you are optimizing for search. Just like our universal pattern has different files for different purposes, skills should be layered. Layer 1 is the foundation skills, communication preferences, output format. These apply to everything. Layer 2 is the domain skills, technology-specific standards, Python conventions, Angular patterns. These apply when working with that technology. And layer 3 is task skills, specific jobs like code review, documentation, testing. These apply for specific activities. When you ask Claude to review Python code, it can load all three layers: your communication preferences, your Python standards, and your code review checklist. They compose automatically. Let me show you how to build each layer. Let's create a code review skill. First, the folder structure. Notice the reference to checklist.md. Claude only loads that file when it needs detailed criteria. Progressive disclosure. Same principle as our universal pattern. Here's the workflow I actually recommend. Use both patterns together. The .context/folder works everywhere. Any LLM, any tool. This is your portable, vendor-agnostic context. The .claude/skills folder adds auto-invocation for Claude users. It can reference or duplicate content from .context, your choice. So why use both? Because your team might use different tools. The front-end developer uses Cursor, the back-end developer uses Claude Code, the architect uses ChatGPT. The context in .context works for everyone. The skills in .claude are bonus for Claude users. Here's what this looks like in practice. 5 minutes of context maintenance at the end of each day saves hours of re-explaining context across your week. I want to mention one thing we are not solving today. Verification. One large language model gives you code. How do you know it actually followed your convention? How do you know it actually respected the architecture decisions in architecture.md? Right now, you have to manually check. In part 3 of the series, Evaluation and Quality, we are going to solve this with automated verification. The large language model checks its own work against your documented standards. For now, just know this is a gap, and we are going to close it. Let me leave you with this. The patterns that we discussed today, the context folder, the daily CURRENT.md updates, Claude skills. This is not just a Claude thing. It's a fundamental shift in how you work with AI. Your context should live in your repository. It should be portable. It should work with whatever tools you are using today, and it should work with whatever tools you will use in 5 years. Claude skills is one excellent implementation, but the pattern is what matters. Learn the pattern, and you are set, regardless which AI wins. This is part 1 of the context layer series. Part 2 is about memory, giving your agents temporal understanding so they know what was true last week versus what's true today. Part 3 is evaluation, solving that verification gap I mentioned. The complete context template and all the skills we built are on GitHub. Link in the description. Clone it, customize it for your project, make it yours. I have been using this pattern since 2024 on real enterprise projects. Now you have it too. What's the first thing that you will add to your context folder? Drop in the comment. Let's build.